All right. We're here. We're here live. It's my first time doing this in a while, but I gotta get used to me being, you know, I can't be as focused as I need to be. I'm waiting on one of my guests to be here. He's in the U.S. military. So once he gets here, we're going to discuss. But before he gets here, let me just let him know I sent it. But before he gets here, I'll make sure we need to just talk about the podcast. We're going to have a lot more stuff coming through. So I definitely want you all to be joining in. I keep saying that, but I'll be real busy for real. So I don't have a lot of time. But we definitely need to address the crisis of what's going on in Ukraine. And I don't know if you all have been watching the news, but for the most part, it has. If you look at what's been going on, this has been a crisis for a while. The United States have warned, President Biden has warned that there's a great possibility that Ukraine would invade, that Russia would invade Ukraine. And I think that a lot of people are getting like a little extra, like, is this beginning of World War III? Or is the world about to come to an end? Or are we about to go to nuclear war? And I think a lot of that is like a lot of that we're kind of jumping ahead of the gun there. I don't think that's the case, but I'm going to bring on an expert. So it's not for me to say. I'm bringing on an expert, and we can ask some questions. So if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and we're going to discuss this because this is what's going on right now. This is the biggest thing that's happening right now on the world stage. It got my stocks all low. That's what we need to talk about. We need a financial expert on here to figure out, is my stocks going back up? That's very important as well, because they have dropped low. It's gas prices going up. A lot of stuff is, a lot of people have been asking questions. Even my mentees been hitting me up like, yo, what's going on with the Ukraine situation and everything like that. So I'm like, let's discuss it tonight. If you have any thoughts on it, feel free to comment. Feel free to ask questions. I'll bring on my guy. Like I said, so my guy, I call him Q. He's been here. He's been great. He's been a part of Caught Up actually for the last month or so. He's coming out mentoring the kids, so I love him. And he's actually pretty young, and he's a sergeant in the National Guard, and he also went through training. So I'm gonna bring him on real quick. Let him introduce himself. Let's see. All right, there we go. Maybe not. All right, there we go. There you go, preacher. There you go. We got you on live here on the Good Night Show. Everybody, again, welcome to the Good Night Show. Share our live and share our video, so we want more people to engage with us. If you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat. If you have comments, feel free to put them in the chat. We need you to engage. We need you to talk. We love when you ask questions. We love when you engage with us. We actually even show it. All right, so talk to us, man. So like I said, a lot of people, first off, tell us what you do. Tell us the work that you do and your connection with the United States military.
All right, good evening, everybody. Like Tucson said, I'm Sergeant Quentin Howard of the Michigan Army National Guard. So I'm a human resources sergeant for the Military Police Battalion. Probably like one of the few military police battalions in the nation. So my connection with it, I wouldn't say it doesn't directly impact me, but as of right now, the National Guard, we got missions all around the world, all around the nation, from riots to deploying overseas to, natural disasters. So, it could definitely affect us in some manner as things, change and as things escalate. But as of right now, I feel like the whole world is kind of just watching and monitoring from my side and from my organization side so far. Like I said, we're just monitoring and hoping that things don't escalate to the point where our lives are disrupted and the lives of our soldiers are disrupted. So yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's a big thing. People are wondering, like, hey, is the draft going to be started? How far is this going to go? And I'm assuming, to me, from what I've watched on the news reports, a lot of this depends on Russia and President Biden. If President Biden is going to get involved, you know, as much. What's the word out there? What do you think so far as relates to like President Biden, his policies and things? Do you think that he would get involved in something like this?
Yeah. So based on like things, you know, that the president has said in the past and today, there's not gonna be any like, you know, direct military action. So if I just go ahead and address the draft for one, because my friends been asking me all day. So the draft, we haven't used the draft since probably like the 70s. So the draft is an all volunteer the military has been all volunteer service since I want to say 1973. I don't expect it to change. The draft is kind of like a last ditch effort. So that's like the chance of that happening are pretty much almost zero. Direct military action, that's my second point. And I should have prefaced this before. I'm not an expert. I just consider myself to be very well read and, you know, just
sure.
current, you know, I keep current.
None of us are experts. I was looking at TV today and they were like all like, I mean, I heard so many different opinions about the situation. Blew my mind, even with the media. But you know, I think there's certain things because I remember when the Afghanistan war started. I was a kid. I mean, I was in high school. You know, man, that war did not seem like that was 20 years ago. But here I am, a kid, and everyone's like, "Yo, it's the draft about to start." Anytime there's talk of war, everybody's like, "Is there going to be a draft?"
Yeah.
It's very important. The United States do not just go to the draft. It's a whole process before that, right?
For sure.
Yeah. And then this, like you said, if you address the draft, we don't think there will be a draft. So if you're out there, then you're going to get drafted, you know, unless things go terribly, terribly wrong, you know, there probably more than likely there will not be a draft. Now, the second question is, as we stated, direct military action. Will the United States take? Because Russia is way out there. What do you say about that?
So right now, you know, obviously, as we've seen, you know, it's very unfortunate. It's been, you know, a loss of life. Democracy in, you know, Ukraine is being directly attacked. However, Ukraine, United States, we've given them, you know, resources to kind of help them fight their own fight. However, I wouldn't expect, you know, like United States troops to, you know, go on ground and, you know, be engaging in combat with Russian soldiers. I wouldn't expect that at all.
Big deal. A lot of people, I'm probably sure, like, so this is all over the news all day, every day, for the past few weeks. And now, like, today has been even more intense. I watch news in the morning. So why is this a big deal? Like, why should I be concerned as an American citizen about what's going on between Ukraine and Russia? What does that got to do with me?
Yeah, so, you know, I wouldn't say I go through the same thoughts, but it's kind of like, I wouldn't say it's similar to, you know, Afghanistan or Iraq, but it's kind of like democracy is under attack. I guess that's the significance. And what it is that one of the United States' key allies, you know, Ukraine, is under attack. And what I want to key in on is just give like a little piece of knowledge. Is there was something called the wow, it's slipping my mind that quick. Wow.
Come on, brother. You got NATO.
Yeah, it's not NATO, but
because I've been thinking this is what I have read about and on the news is that people were very upset, the Russians, that NATO. I don't know. You still here with us, brother?
Yep.
Okay. You're screaming blank.
Yeah,
but all right. So people were upset that NATO, that Ukraine wanted to join NATO, and Russia was like, "Nah, y'all not join NATO. Y'all right next door to us. We're not going to have all these countries in here in our business, being able to monitor us, being able to do things." So they're like, "No, you're not joining NATO," and that's really the biggest problem of why the Russians are upset. They're trying to prevent So what they've taken upon their it's like I guess they've gone over there and start blowing up military bases, airports, and it's like if United States is these people's friend, then why in the hell are they allowing them to get bombed like that? If you was my boy and somebody's over there attacking you, I'm gonna come help you. So people are thinking that at some point the United States is gonna have to get involved. They cannot allow their boy, as we could put it, or their friend or their ally to get blown up to pieces because Russia is aggressive. So why can't the United States get involved? And what are the implications of that?
So it's not a matter of we can't get involved. It's kind of a matter of and like I said, I'm not an expert. I'm not speaking on behalf of the military. These are my opinions.
No, I'm with you.
It's a matter of do the benefits of us getting involved outweigh, the cons? So, can we justify, putting boots on ground in Ukraine? From my foxhole, I don't think we can. I don't think that's a seeing the history behind, if you read into the history of Ukraine is a former territory of the Soviet Union. So there's history behind that. With the whole NATO thing, Ukraine was never supposed to be, included in NATO, based on
Russia felt like,
like diplomatic agreements, like actually conducted back in, like, I want to say the 90s, where they said Ukraine would not be, admitted into NATO. So there are different things that play here.
Which is so important. I guess my thing is like, why is Russia so concerned? It has nothing to do with them. But I guess they're like, hey, they're not going to NATO. I struggle. I do struggle with that overall. Someone made a comment. She says, I think it's disgusting that the U.S. is giving so much attention to this country that celebrates Nazis. I'm not sure whether, I'm assuming she's talking about Ukraine, because it seems like she's spewing a lot of what Russia was saying, that Ukraine was all up in the neo-Nazis thing. I heard that rumor as well. But you can't believe nothing that Russia's saying right now. They are unhinged.
Yeah, for
sure. They're unhinged.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's dangerous. I think, people were wondering, like, yo, is this the beginning of World War III? Because if the United States get too involved, it can possibly escalate. Now, the question is, I know that the United States have a missile defense system. Can our defense system block all the nuclear weapons that Russia can send over here? Is that possible?
I'm not exactly like qualified enough to, speak on that, but we do have the capabilities to, defend against a potential nuclear attack. And I say A as in singular.
Yeah. So not like that's one, because there's thousands and thousands, I know that, of nuclear bombs.
Yep. So what I would say is Russia's unhinged, but they're not unhinged enough to, go into nuclear war mode.
I don't know. Putin, he's way out there right now.
Yeah,
he's
for sure.
Sanctioned. He's upset. He's going broke. I get my question. I was thinking, like, maybe this is the end of this brother over there. Maybe he's thinking like, this is the end. Let's go all out with a big bang. He's getting older. They say he's up for re-election next year. Not that matters in Russia because he kills all of his opponents, so that doesn't matter. But this is crazy stuff, man. This is deep, crazy stuff. And Curl, you made a comment. I don't know if you with the Kremlin or not, but your comment really focused on, because Russia did get on our. I don't even know who that Curl is. That's the crazy part. Might be one of the Russian people on here, but they was all over our internet a few years back, so we don't know if that's what's going on here. But she's definitely spewing everything that Russia was saying. But what I see is she said, yes, Ukraine. Not only Russia speaks about it, me and John's reporting this, but for some reason, the West will not report on it. I mean, I don't know what that has to do with Russia going over to the country that is sovereign and blowing up their airports, blowing up their military bases to a country that's sovereign. It seems like Russia is unhinged. is this the beginning of World War III? And I think you made a point. They're unhinged, but not like they crazy, as somebody would say, but they ain't that crazy, right?
Yeah. So, and one of the key points I want to make is that, once again, I think the fact that I think NATO needs to be made, it's very important here because NATO is, group of European countries. Russia is not, I don't think that Russia has the goal to attack a NATO country. Russia can do what it wants with Ukraine, kind of Russia, they are doing what they want with Ukraine, unfortunately, because Ukraine they have protection, but to a degree, like everybody's not going to go all out for Ukraine. However, say if they touch Germany, say if they touch, France or, a NATO country, then it's a totally different situation. Then that's when
and Germany recently said there's a pipeline that Russia wants. I don't know what's for. There's a pipeline, and Germany recently said that because of this aggressiveness by Russia, that they're no longer going to allow Russia to do the pipeline through their country. They're putting a halt to that. Yep. So Russia could get upset with Germany as well because they put a halt to that. And Russia is paying I want people to know that Russia is paying a money price. This is why it's the brother Putin in his right mind, because they're paying a heavy price right now by sanctions. They're sanctioning their banks. They're sanctioning their rich people.
And so what it is that it's kind of gonna be like a war of financial attrition, to speak. It's gonna be like, are these sanctions gonna be worth it? And if you watched the president's news conference earlier, he said come back in like a month or two. Some people saw that as him deflecting, but he's right. Come back in a month or two. Russia might be in a totally different predicament, financially, and they might, say, okay, now we need to chill out. We need to get these sanctions up off of us. So, I'm just talking possibilities, and
And Curl says Curl's the only one engaging. Anybody else, you can feel free to engage. Feel free to comment. We're only getting from Curl, and I love your commentary, Curl. You're making great points that I'm aware of. The last comment Curl made was she said that Russia doesn't want. Let me see. Can I show this real quick? She says Russia doesn't want Ukraine to join NATO, quote unquote, basically because that would expose them to weapons on their borders. So they're like, it's kind of like really the military crisis back in our day, the Cuban military crisis, when, they wanted to put, the Soviet Union wanted to put missiles in Cuba, and the United States was like, nah.
Yeah, that's a little too close. You feel me?
It's not going to be that close to us. I'm sorry. Yep. It sounds good, but no, it's not happening. And so Russia is saying for Ukraine is like, you can't jail. But the crazy thing is that they haven't even joined NATO. That's the first thing. They haven't joined NATO. And Russia is like, this aggressiveness is kind of crazy. And I mean, I'm under the impression, the opinion, I think the United States have to do more. We're down there, we're looking soft down there. Russia's down there attacking our great ally, our friend, and we're looking soft. And we can't be down there looking soft as the great United States of America now. So we might have to do a little more than sanctions. I heard that something on the news I heard earlier was that United States would provide them weapons, but what the heck, if Russia's dropping bombs and they got weapons, how is that going to help?
But it's kind of like we're in between a rock and a hard place, though. It's like, what do we do? It's like, okay, do we help our little cuz out and then he go get, and then do we help our little cuz out against this bully? Then the bully pull out his strap, and then now we gotta pull out our strap, and then or it's kind of like,
well, we can't have our friend over here get bullied and we're not doing anything, but providing them weapons to get blown up. Because I saw those tanks over there in the Ukraine. They got the Ukraine president. He looks like he's very nervous. He's begging, pleading, please don't come. I said, my goodness, this brother is begging. I understand because his people was dying. So I know where he's coming from. But I'm like, my goodness, he's upset. And now we haven't done anything. We have not been able to address, what's been going on. We have not been, it's frustrating I'm frustrated with this whole situation because the United States have not responded in an appropriate amount of force to stop Russia. And the question people would ask is, why isn't United States tanks over there, confronting Russia with this? You think that Ukraine is just too small and it's not worth it? It's not. I mean, I guess Joe Biden has a tough decision to make. Is he going to get out there and put us into another war that people might not have the stomach for? So I do understand that he's in a tough predicament, but I'm like, brother, they are bulldozing the whole country right now, and the world is watching as Russia is taking center stage, and we have done nothing but we're going to provide those people with weapons.
And I think it's also another thing that to highlight. I'm not gonna say it's not a United States issue, because although that is our ally, it's more so a European issue. It's more so a European issue. You got France, you got the UK, you got Germany. And I'm not pushing it. I'm not saying we should push it off on them. I'm not saying that the United States shouldn't intervene, because we're doing all. I think that we're doing a great deal. But at the end of the day, it's more so a European issue, because
so
Russia's supplying 75. These are rough numbers, by the way. 75% of Europe's electricity, so, or energy rather. So I mean,
yeah. She says that, Carol is going in. She says that the Black American community needs to be outraged, because once again, here we are fighting someone else's fight that don't care about our domestic issues. The fact that Black Americans are losing I'm assuming it's going to be more, and I don't know. Carol seems real. I don't know, but I guess my problem with this entire situation is that the United States has not intervened enough to stop this foolishness that's going on over there, and people's lives are being lost every single day. And I think a lot of people would like to see the United States get involved more. I'm sure a lot of people are like, I ain't got the stomach for another war. We don't need to spend that much money. But this is a serious situation. But I think some clear things we want to make sure that people know that we do not believe that there will be a draft. We do not believe that this will end up to World War III. And we do not believe that this will be World War III. And the United States is probably not going to get involved military, because United States, and not to say the United States is not involved. They are involved. They have troops over there in that area, but they're probably not going to get engaged into the war, because it's just not our interests. Our interests are, it's just, we don't have the stomach for it. That's what I believe is the most pertinent reason why we're not going to get involved in that situation. So, you want to say anything close us out, brother? We only do 30 minutes of these, but you want to say anything to close us out?
Yep. So, I guess, once again, not saying that, we shouldn't get involved, because we should get involved. It's an ally. We had an agreement with Ukraine, but it's more so a European issue. We don't have enough, national interest in Ukraine. Not saying they don't matter, because it's an unfortunate situation going on over there, but we don't have enough national interest, in Ukraine to go over there and just lay waste,
Yeah, no, I understand.
Some people want to, but I do think that I don't think that World War III is gonna happen. I think that there will be some temporary economic impacts, with fuel prices, stock markets, for sure. But I do think that once we see these sanctions like take their full impact, once we see some more of this unity by NATO, I think that we'll be able to reach a, I'm not even gonna say satisfactory endpoint, but because people have lost their lives already, but we're gonna
Yeah.
see an improvement, at least some sort of improvement, at least in the situation. So
That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for joining. I really appreciate you joining, my good brother.
I appreciate you
For
having
sure.
me, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we'll talk soon. We'll have you on more. I just want to close out by saying that, like as we stated, that there's been a craziness right now in this world, and of course, the media is blowing everything up. I mean, is this possibility of the beginning of a World War III? I hope not, and I don't think so. By basically all accounts that I've read, and it does depend on how involved will the United States get into this situation. It does depend on that. Will the United States get involved? And I think overall, the things as Q just said, something that you can kind of look forward to is gas prices going up. You can look forward to inflation continuing to rise. This is the absolute worst time to be around involved in some military operation. I mean, Russia should be ashamed of themselves. Ridiculous. But this is just the wrong time, and it's all bad. So, but we don't think there'll be a draft. We don't think that there will be World War III. I think that's what you can take away from here. We'll have more. We'll stay up to date. I'll cover current issues. You have any other questions or things like that, or any comments? Feel free. It was definitely a pleasure speaking to you, Carl. Thank you for your engagement. You were very intellectual. We appreciate you for commenting. Thank you, Dimitri, for coming on. Please continue to share our videos. We will be back. I want to talk about some topics we're going to have in the next few weeks. One is that should police be in schools? Should armed police officers be in schools? You already know my opinion on that, but let's bring in some experts and let them have that conversation, debate. We will have that conversation. Second, we will also discuss. I want to discuss the Juwan Howard situation, but that's kind of blew past when the brother did not get suspended. Bless his heart. I mean, he did get suspended. He did not get fired, which I think is a great ending to that story. And hopefully that he will do well, continue to represent himself and his university great. So that's good. And then so we'll talk about some different topics as the time come by. Look out. We'll probably put out their schedule. We'll probably have some co-hosts and things like that. Have a wonderful day. God bless you. See you soon.